Hey, this is Ruth Hartunian Ellenbaugh here at Dad's Doughs. I am sitting at the table with the co-owner of this business. I'm going to let him introduce himself because he could probably do a commercial way better than I, and then we'll go from there. So please.
Thank you, Ruth. Lucas Ahern with Dad's Doughs. We're located right in Mansfield at 483 Stores Road in the old Echo Grange building. We are a custom made to order mini donut shop, also serving Connecticut coffee, Connecticut local beverages, and I think probably the most unique thing about our business, aside from that they are miniature donuts, which was the target of being a little unique, is also that they are all made to order. So we installed a window so that you can watch all of your donuts being topped fresh to order after you put your order in.
Ooh, so that, as a mom who homeschooled her kids, this sounds like a field trip to me.
Yeah, we've had great feedback from homeschool parents in general. Also as a reward, either when you get to pull a kid out for a doctor or a dentist appointment, and then of course on the weekends coming in and experiencing it. So for the people who the 4 to 6 minutes for a fresh dozen donuts made in front of you doesn't work into their schedule, we also do offer an online ordering option where you can go online, choose whatever donuts and or beverage you might want, and then you choose your time slot. And then you can also reserve that time slot, which has been very helpful for like weekends or holidays when we've had days where we've put out more than 1,000 donuts. You're able to reserve your time slot so that you know exactly what time your order can be ready for you.
Can you call during non-open hours and make an order, or does it have to be during the hours you're open?
So we actually don't take any phone orders, only because of the nature of our donuts. We change our flavors very frequently. So within the last week, we've changed out over 8 of the flavors. There's going to be more changes going on tomorrow. And also in an effort to be able to provide the best experience possible and keep our price point as low as possible, we offer in-person order or online ordering.
Oh, good. Online. Great. So what's your social media presence as far as that goes then?
So we're on Facebook and Instagram, Dad's Doughs for both of them. And our website is dadsdoughs.com.
Okay. And did you say what your hours were at the front end?
So we are open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Great, great. Well, this space is really beautiful. There's a lot of gorgeous artwork on the walls.
Yes, so Laura Costello did all of our everything, to be honest with you. She did our logo, she designed our signs, she designed our merchandise, she did our shirts, she did our coffee mugs, she did our murals, she did our menu board, helped with the website, did all of our corporate branding.
God. She branded you.
She
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your branding is a big pink donut, right? I'm going to hold that up so people on YouTube can see that.
And then I was able to meet Laura through the work she was doing at the business that you recently just interviewed, Shar House Cookie in Bolton. So my friend Kate is the owner and fell in love with her artwork and asked her who did it. And fast forward to Laura being everywhere in the room as you look around.
So Lucas, I know this is not your first rodeo.
No, I've been in the food service business over 25 years.
25, and you're 27, so
yes,
you got started.
Got a very early start.
Why did you birth this after all those years of being in food service and still being in food service? I mean, that says something because food service is hard work.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, at one point during COVID, I tried to get out and I tried working the 9-to-5 desk thing and I kept running back to restaurants. So I started working at Chuck's back in high school when I was growing up in Mansfield, and then moved to Boston, managed restaurants there for a better part of a decade. And then once my wife and I got engaged, I moved back to Connecticut, grew our family, and after I moved back to Connecticut, worked at J. Gilbert's in Glastonbury, Max Restaurant Group in West Hartford, and most recently at Camille's in Tolland and Oakland Pizza in South Windsor.
Excellent places.
And now jumping out on my own doing Dad's Doughs. But this was originally kind of a food truck idea, and then through a long-standing friendship with my business partner, and conversations about where to possibly park the food truck, ideas for the food truck, and insurance for the food truck, all sorts of different things. And then kind of the worlds aligned, and the space that we're in now was occupied by a business tenant who had a lease that was expiring this past summer, and she had provided notice that she was going to like relocate and not extend her lease and move out. So my now business partner who owns the building, invited for Dad's Doze to come on in and occupy the space down here, and has been a huge asset and supporter, and wouldn't have been able to have any of this without that kind of support and insight. So it's been great.
When did you open?
We opened officially, our ribbon cutting was on December 6th.
Okay, so just a few months, huh?
Yeah. Our soft open was on Thanksgiving weekend. We had a big turnout, and then we had a little equipment issue. Took a few days to, reset and get everything ready, and then hit the ground running with our grand opening. And from there, it's been great. The support from the community has been huge, and also the catering orders has been a big difference for us, whether it's through UConn or ECSU or local businesses. That's really been an area that we've been able to excel in.
So if I have an event coming up, let's talk about your catering orders, and then I definitely want to get to like all the flavors of these beautiful donuts sitting on this table. I will hold them up closer to the camera so that if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see them, because it really is true. We do eat with our eyes, and I would like to just try all of them right now, but I'm restraining myself. Talk about your order ahead, your catering orders. How would people, let's see, today is, whatever, we're in January. Let's say I have an event around Valentine's Day, okay?
So
what would I do?
you can order online up to 30 days in advance, and our full catering menu is available online. So whether that's our 36 donut catering box, the Dad's MVP box, we also have a 96-ounce box of coffee or hot chocolate, the Dad's Caffeine Cruiser,
nice.
and then the two of those together is our late for the meeting catering combination. But those items can be ordered online as far in advance as 30 days, or with as short notice as 25 minutes.
Oh.
So unlike a lot of catering options where you have to have days of planning, back and forth communication, we're set up to be able to accommodate somebody who maybe forgot that they needed to bring coffee and donuts, or they're making up to coworkers, friends, etc., and they need to very quickly acquire some treats for some friends.
Great. So what are your standard flavors? So every day that I come into Dad's Doze, I can be sure that these flavors are going to be here. Do you have those?
So we have a half a dozen core flavors that we always offer.
Okay.
Chocolate frosted, plain, powdered sugar, cinnamon sugar, honey glazed, and jelly are always available every day. The 12 donuts in our display case, now those flavors, they do rotate quite frequently. You can always see what flavors are available either in person in the display case or by viewing on our website. When you click on any of our donut options, your first 12 flavors that are options are the same 12 flavors that are in our case.
Okay. So I'm gonna pick up one of these little plates of the 9, and I'm gonna bring it closer to the camera, and then please tell people what the flavors are on here. You go ahead and
All right, so we've got honey glazed, jelly, salted caramel, pina colada, mixed berry blast, strawberry kiss, dad style, fruity pebbles, and berry New Year.
wow. How'd you come up with these?
So a lot of the items were recipes that we experimented with prior to opening. A lot of them were, my business partner and I are a couple of dads. Between us, we have 7 kids, and we are a couple of dads that like donuts. So a lot of the ones that are on there are the donuts that we selfishly enjoy ourselves. And then a lot of the ones that we've added, we're up to 46 or 47 different recipes right now.
Wow.
And at least 15 to maybe 16 or 17 of them are all creations through our team members. So when it's a day that's slow, instead of necessarily trying to cut somebody's hours, or at a certain point we do have a small space and we can clean it pretty well pretty quickly. So we might run out of more traditional tasks. So what we do during those slow periods is experiment. Sometimes the experiments are not so great, and that's why we make them in small batches. And then other times those experiments lead to hits on the menu. I would say probably half of the flavors that are there right now were staff creations.
Can you explain what those are in front of the camera? And then I'm going to make sure we're still running while you do that, okay?
All right.
Come up a little closer. Yeah, that's great.
All right, now we've got chocolate frosted, dulce de leche, cinnamon sticky bun, honey pretzel, cookies and cream, maple bacon, plain, cinnamon sugar, and powdered sugar.
Maple bacon. So I'm a fan of process. I really am fascinated with processes. Like, how did you get from here to here? So you said there are a number of recipes. Like, how did you finally know that you hit on what you really wanted to serve the public? How did you know?
So, experimenting, taste testing, lots of great guinea pigs. I've got a large family, and I've got a lot of great friendship network.
I'm sure they all love you because you bring donuts wherever you go.
Yeah, and so the other thing is a lot of the great guests that we've experienced in the shop. You know, if you're someone who's hanging out here and you're a great regular, and I value your opinion and your purchase history, I'm going to give you one while you're waiting for your order to taste and experiment. Give you some notes.
That's nice hospitality.
You know, if you're somebody who's here 3 times a week getting donuts and coffee, and I have a new flavor, you're going to be one of the first people that I want.
Ooh, you heard it here, people.
Yeah. And then I think having some combinations that play well. You know, it didn't take a culinary mastermind to think of cookies and cream being a combination, but what it did take was some tweaking on the amount of those ingredients and the process and how we do it. And for example, any of the donuts that are the whipped icing, those are going to be the last donuts that we make, so that when you get your box, especially when you're putting those into a warm donut, it's going to be less likely to slide off during transportation.
Yeah, melting. That would be sad, right? They visually are beautiful. Are they the same basic dough, or are they different doughs? Or
so it's all the same. It's a deluxe New England cake donut. So the company that we use for the donut mix is Bacon Joy out of Massachusetts. The company that we use for our gluten-free donuts is Freedom Gluten-Free Bakery, also out of Massachusetts, with the hopes that we can get a local gluten-free option for the shop in the near future in 2025. But with the exception of those Massachusetts companies, pretty much everything else is Connecticut. You know, we exclusively serve Mountain Dairy products from stores, Hosmer Mountain Soda from Willimantic, Village Springs Water in Wellington. You know, at the end of the day, none of those items in and of themselves are really moving the needle sales-wise. But when you grow up in town, you went to E.O. Smith, you went to school with the kids or the relatives of the families that owns those businesses. They're all locally family-owned businesses, and selfishly, in my opinion, they're family-owned businesses that do things the right way. So it was a very easy choice on who to partner with.
Easy. So I would like to try something like, out of all of these donuts that are all over the table, which one do you think, what would you suggest?
So I think my favorite is one that's not currently on the menu, but I do have on a plate. I wanted to make sure Maddie made that for you. That's the Angelo's. So the chef that I trained under in Boston, Angelo Catenza, his most famous dish was a white chocolate blueberry cheesecake. And I'd always known that whenever I had the opportunity to open up my own place, that I was going to have something with white chocolate and blueberry, because the flavor combination just goes so well. And I knew that it would be named after Angelo. So I think that's always one of my first, sentimental ones, but I also just, quite honestly, the flavor combo works.
Pardon me while I eat. Did you want to have one too while I'm eating?
Oh yeah, so I think what I'm going for...
Is there ever a time when you say I've had enough donuts?
No, but there are times when I get home and I feel terrible, and my wife will have like a gorgeous meal or something ready. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm not hungry. I ate 64 donuts at work today. I think what I'm going to go in for, this is our Husky style. So whenever we've had big Yukon games, whether it was the Yukon bowl game or a big Yukon basketball game, we'll bring out the Husky style donut, which is a Danish glaze with Yukon sprinkles. So this is usually one of my go-tos in the morning.
So flavor-wise, well, I'm happy when there's a crunch on the outside. I think that you have to have that for a donut. So this hits it right there, and it's a nice inside dough, the yellow part of it, the cakey part of it, but it's not so cakey like you feel like it's going to get stuck in your throat like a plug or something. Because I've had cake donuts, and
Oh yeah.
I don't love cakey. I usually prefer glaze. But I mean, this is great, and thank you for not putting too many white chips on top, because there's a balance between the blueberry and the white glaze, and then the white chips. I think
4 chips to a donut.
that is more than enough, and I would be happy with just like a couple, and that means I get to have variety.
Exactly, and that was the uniqueness on finding an item that was already a proven culinary item. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. No one has to try to test out to know if the general public likes donuts. They do. What they also do is they like a good fresh donut.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not many options on getting a good fresh donut around here. And most of the ones that are good options for fresh donuts are yeast donuts, and they're full size.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much how we came to step out of the norm, but not so much so that we were looking to create a new item.
Well, I am sure that you've never known this, but for years, my Christmas wish list, like when I used to write for the local paper, I would say my top 3 things that I would like. One of them was always a donut shop.
That's awesome. So the basis of this was both my business partner and I growing up in Mansfield. There was a donut shop on the Yukon campus named the Sugar Shack for years and years and years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that was the basis of a food truck idea, a donut shop down south that my business partner had visited while on vacation, and then kind of our nostalgia and memories of a community connection meeting spot. And then through great small world connections, our old dentist / high school assistant basketball coach actually connected me with the gentleman that used to own the Sugar Shack, Nick. And Nick, this past summer, spent hours and hours and hours on the phone with me, answering every and any question that I had about the donut business, the being in business in and around the university, and how that could affect things. And it was really helpful through the whole process.
I have very fond memories of donuts when I was a student at the University of Kansas, and I didn't have a car. There was a place downtown that you could walk to from campus called Joe's Donuts, and they only made one kind of donut, and it was a yeast glaze. And they would put them on a broom rod and hang them in the window, so like they were all dripping, and you could smell it from a mile away. And that's all they ever sold, and they did it well. I don't even think it's there anymore, but yeah, I have a very, if I travel, I usually look for a donut place, and not all donut places are the same.
Well, you're not going to have to travel very far to find us, and you'll always have lots of variety. You'll have the traditional glaze that you maybe remember from that time at Kansas, but also the ability to pretty much every time you come in have something different to choose from.
So when you do the icing kind of stuff, is it a buttercream? Is it a whippy cream?
So it's a whipped vanilla icing,
It's whipped
and unlike an aerosol based, which is going to slide off and melt, this really holds presentation wise. So for the people that are bringing them, taking them to go and consuming them off site, it was important to find something that would travel well.
They do look beautiful, and I mean, you could eventually do a truck, couldn't you?
Oh yeah. So I think a mobile component on being able to offer what we have in a catering type setting and special event would really be something that we would want to get into.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I don't think we would be setting up on a street corner or whatnot to the general public, but I think the opportunity to get into catered events, weddings, baby showers, family
Third
parties,
Thursday.
third Thursday. Chris Beaudry's been talking to me about trying to get Dad's Do's down to third Thursday.
Oh, good. Chris, good one. Good call.
Yeah.
So what would you like the public, like if you were going to just do a commercial for Dad's Do's, what would you like the public to know about your place here?
That we are making all the donuts fresh to order.
That's
There's
amazing.
nothing that's mass produced. You know, a lot of the places around here, the bigger chains, when you're getting a donut, you're looking at something that's at least a day old. And you're usually, at worst case, looking at a donut that might be 30, 35 minutes old.
Which makes a big
huge difference. And then from there, that's the base donut, but then everything's being topped to order. So I think the other thing is, you know, especially with certain kids, I have 4 kids myself, if there's, you wanted a berry New Year, but you didn't want the white chocolate chips, we can just do it without the white chocolate chips. That's the beauty of having all of these things not made ahead of time.
So like a person could special order something and say they want something on it or they don't want something on it, right?
So the one thing I will say is that with any of those types of modifications, we're usually going to encourage that to be an in-person order so that we can have a conversation to ensure that what you want, we're going to be able to get it exactly that way.
Agreed.
But no, 100%. The whole point of this is to be able to get people whatever they want. If you want to come in and order a dozen, if you want to come in and order one, or if you want to come in and order 900 like Yukon did, we can do any and all of that in between. And it's, you know, whether you want 12 of the same one, or, you know, a lot of times people come in, they order one of everything in the case. You know, they'll say, well, I know what a jelly tastes like, I know what a glaze tastes like, I'm sure yours are good, but all these specialty ones, give me one of each. And there's a dozen in the case, works out well. And then from there, usually the next time they come back, they mix it up between some of the classic flavors and some of the specialty flavors.
Yeah, you know, I like the classics, and I don't think all the classics, like your jelly, is not going to taste the same as like what I enjoyed when I was growing up at my local bakery. It's a whole different ballgame. I think everything's worth a try.
Oh yeah, and when people are usually sticking to just one flavor, what I like to do in that scenario is ask them if there's anything else that caught their eye, and then just send one out. You know, you might know that you love glaze, then you order 12, and I love and appreciate that purchase. But if you were eyeballing the honey pretzel, I'm going to make sure you also get a honey pretzel.
Honey pretzel donut.
Oh yeah.
No, like, oh really? So like, what's on the honey pretzel?
So it's our house honey glaze, and then
Okay.
we smother it with pretzel crumbs.
How does it stick on? The glaze makes,
The glaze is the binder.
but then you have some other crummy thing on top. What is that?
The pretzel.
Oh, it's a pretzel crumbs.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's it. What do you think about a whoopie pie type of donut? Like where you slice it and then put whipping cream in it? Could that work?
Certainly something that we've talked
Because you
about.
have cream.
Various things that we can do with donuts. We're looking to really take advantage of our patio once the weather warms up. So we have a 110-foot patio in front of this building.
Lovely, yeah.
We're
Right.
just working on getting all of our approval in place for exactly how many seats we'll have access to and what type of events and things we can do out there. But really excited to be able to enjoy some donuts outside.
Well, I was also happy to see as I was coming into the building that there is a dedicated space for people who might have accessibility issues.
Most certainly. So there's
yeah.
accessible spot right in the front, right next to the ramp, which leads to the accessible door, fully accessible restroom, entryway, counter space, and all of our tables and seating.
So guys, there's no good reason why you can't come here. Okay, there's nothing that will prevent you from coming. So name your hours again, your location, your social media presence.
Yeah, so we're Dad's Do's at 483 Stores Road in Mansfield. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Dad's Do's and open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. dadsdoes.com.
Oh, that's easy. Wow. So who's going to eat all of these?
Oh, you're bringing them home.
Are you serious? My day
Not this
just
one.
got better. Not the one you just popped in your mouth and ate. Wow, that's very generous of you. I appreciate that. It might be dinner. tonight.
And dessert.
Donuts for dinner. Why not, right? Hey, Lucas, I wish you the best, and I hope that people will find you and they will come and enjoy donuts. I want to thank the Allen Package Store for sponsoring this program. I always forget to do that, so please forgive me. I will be writing about this once the interview comes out on YouTube, and I'll be making a few more comments because I have a few more donuts to try between now and then. And I want to make sure, I've done my due diligence. So thank you so much for your hospitality. Thank you for letting me come in. This is Ruth Hartunian Alaba, otherwise known as Ravings and Cravings, signing off here at Dad's Stoves.